Okay. How is this not working? It was working literally yesterday. Okay, now it's working. Now you're working. Okay. Blaring so loud though. Okay. I fixed my microphone. It's got an issue every time I'm about to do something. So we you know. Oh, I almost busted my phone. It accidentally went under my chair. uh. The mic was a. I'll have you know, my mic is not atrocious. My mic is an XLR. I paid $400 for it. It's just not well optimized, I think, is the problem. I'm not coping. Okay. So this is all the perks of the Skull Merchant. So quite literally, all the perks in the game. And since I'm waiting on Haley to play Minecraft, I decided I wanted to do something slightly productive. And I decided what I'm gonna do is another tier list because I've been enjoying these. I did the last one with Haley. She's busy right now, so I'm just gonna do these by myself for the time being. I will admit the only thing that's like setting off my OCD is that they're all yellow perks instead of purple or even green. Like yellow, I don't know what it is about yellow, but I just don't like the color yellow. It's like I don't like you. Please go away. What are you using speech chat for? I'm using it. Turn mic up a bit. Yeah, I can do that. I'll turn it up one notch. I'm trying to make sure I don't have it too loud, because if I have it too loud, it'll pick up white noise. I'm pretty sure it actually picks up, like, my ventilation system, which is, like, albeit a little bit loud, but usually none of my mics pick it up. This one is just so good. It picks up, like, literally, Haley busted her eardrums. She busted her eardrums, from listening to my ceiling fan, which makes almost no noise, by the way, because it was, like, on full blast, my one thing. But I am glad that it is fixed. I guess I'll just start right into this. Agitation, I would say, is a tier perk. I wouldn't exactly give it. I don't even know if I should really give it an A tier, because like the thing is, it's kind of hard to like label some of these perks.
Oh, it's for that. Me see.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, like it's kind of hard for me to like tier up some of these perks because I'm going by my enjoyment of using them as well as practical use. Agitation is a pretty good perk, I would say. It lets you get a lot of distance that you wouldn't be able to get like beforehand. So overall, I would say it's a good perk, but like it's not like super game changing unless you're playing a certain killer or if you're trying to get to a Scourge Hook, which it can do that, and it's also good against boil over gamers, I would say. But besides that, I don't feel like I can give it S tier. I honestly think I should put it more closer to B tier, because it's a niche perk that is for getting you across map a little bit quicker. If you bring it just by itself, it's not going to be that good. So I think I'm gonna go with B tier. Yeah. Nurses.
Kata. Welcome to my channel.
Oh dear God, it's doing this. So Nurses Calling. Nurses Calling. I do think. What's my dog doing? Nurses Calling, I think, does deserve the A tier. Or reading perks are very good and oppressive. And it does what it needs to do. Also, Nurses Calling has been not necessarily meta, but it has been a good perk ever since it came out. Like, I don't believe it's ever been nerfed to my knowledge. Like, it's perfectly balanced. It's really good on stealth killers. Like, if you're playing Myers or Ghosty, or if you just have some perk that lets you be undetectable, Nurse's Calling can be a complete and utter monster of a perk. So yeah, I'm gonna put on A tier for that. You can use this a lot better than you could, I feel like you could with Agitation. That is my personal feelings on that. Bamboozle! I'll put it in C tier. Mostly because we have... Bamboozle's not a horrible perk, but you literally only use it to... Most people that use Bamboozle, they don't use it for the faster vaulting. I would say they use it for the fact that you can block off a window. And the faster vaulting part is just a small aspect of that. Actually, I'm going to bump it up to B tier. I'm going to bump it up to B tier and not C tier. Because it does block off the window and allows you to vault faster. So, like, if you're a person that hates chases and, let's say, shack like I do, you're not going to be over here. You if you
Drapsnat. Welcome to my channel.
Speech chat, please shut up. Okay. Anyways. Welcome, by the way. So the thing is, as I said, Bamboozle really only, it's a vaulting perk. So it already is kind of at a disadvantage, I would say. But Bamboozle is pretty decent on its own because it allows you to, again, vault faster and block windows, and that can, like, literally change how you can play the game. When you're going up against some really, really strong survivors, and they're, like, basically abusing the shack, you can literally make shack not a viable option. It's best for insta-down killers like Bubba and Myers, in my honest opinion. So, I'm gonna put it right here to appease the Bamboozle fans, but I could say you could definitely argue that it's a C tier perk. Barbecue and chili. I'm gonna put in A tier. No, I'm actually gonna put it in S tier. I still think it's an S tier perk. A lot of people don't, because you don't get, you know, the 100% extra blood points per hook, which, I mean, does suck, but it's still a very good information perk. I use it all the time. Like, if I'm running an ore reading build, and even when I'm not running an ore reading build, I tend to bring barbecue and chili, and I think a lot of people kind of forget that it exists now because of that nerf it got. Which, it wasn't even really a nerf on the actual perk.
Alicidra.
Like,
Welcome to my channel.
all things considered.
Tenerife. Welcome to my channel.
Well, it only did 2 names. Okay, I'll take that. It wasn't 5 million different ones. Okay, Beast of Prey? I believe this is what this one is. I believe what this does is once you chase... give me 1 second. I do have to do a... Okay, yeah, I was right. It is Beast of Prey. So, Beast of Prey, what it does... Let me double check again. I'm pretty sure what it does is when you're in a chase, you lose your tear radius. I just want to make double sure that okay. Okay, Beast of Prey. Yeah, when you get Bloodlust, you get undetectable. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We're gonna put that in D tier. Because if you're getting Bloodlust, the survivor is already gonna know that you're on them. So overall, it's just not a good perk to run. Do not run it. Like, I see you over there, Gidget. I'll be right back. I won't be long. Just like 1 millisecond. I see my dog trying to do her usual aggravating activities. Stay out of the trash, you raccoon. There we go. She can no longer acquire garbage. So, there is that. She is garbageless. So, yeah, I don't think I really need to explain Beast of Prey that much anymore. We know why it's there. Bitter Murmur, I would say, is an A tier perk. Bitter Murmur is also a perk that I feel like gets slept on by, like, everyone except for, like, I don't know, Coconut. Like, everyone kind of forgets a Bitter Murmur exists, I feel like. Like, I never see anyone run Bitter Murmur or Barbecue and Chili anymore. And both of them are still really good information perks. Like, I would say they're, like, one of the strongest in the game still. Not the strongest. That belongs to Sadako. She has the strongest information perk in the game, I would say. But, yeah. Actually, no. I take that back. The Knight does. The Knight has the most powerful. But yeah, Bitter Murmur is a very good information perk. Generator pops. You see the aura of people for several seconds. It's a really good perk. Blood Echo. Ooh. Okay, Blood Echo is a interesting case, especially with the changes they did to medkits and Boon Circle of Healing. I would say this is maybe a B tier. I probably would have put it in C tier, but I'm going to put it in B tier and say that this is a B tier perk. Basically, once you hook someone and they are injured, they become exhausted, I think hemorrhaged and blind. I need to relook at it. I may know it, and I don't even remember what this perk completely does. Okay. Yeah, I was right. Hemorrhage and exhausted for 45 seconds. So yeah, I would say that's a B tier perk. They obviously have to be injured beforehand, and it lasts for 45 seconds. It's a pretty decent perk, I would say, with the change to healing and the nerfs that they've done to like a lot of the healing perks. This is a alright perk. Bloodhound. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's an alright tracking perk. It's definitely better than Predator, which lets you see scratch marks, except it's like harder to tell whose scratch marks it is. This one just makes blood a lot brighter. So this is an actually somewhat okay information perk. I mean, there's definitely better with ore reading information perks like these, but Bloodhound is also a okay information perk if like you're in a chase, especially if it's a darker map. That's when I would say Bloodhound really shines and you're having trouble seeing someone's blood. Like mid-chase, maybe they have... no, with Lucky Break, that takes away their blood too. Let's just say it's just dark enough and you can't really see their blood. It can help you. But besides that, it's not really doing a whole bunch. Blood Warden. I'm going to put it in B tier, which might be controversial. Blood Warden is not as good as I feel like people have put it out to be. Like, I've run Blood Warden before. I've made it where people have died to my Blood Warden by waiting an incredibly long time and having my Blood Warden timer, you know, time out and kill everyone. But yeah, like it gives you a little bit of information, which is but it also gives you slow down with being able to get more people if they're at the exit gate. Which I would only recommend if there was like 1 or 2 people in the exit. Like, and there's only 1 or 2 people left alive. That's the only time I probably would do that. Is if you know both of them are there. So Blood Warden, kind of situational. Brutal. This might be an oddball putting Brutal in A tier. But I honestly think Brutal is an A tier perk. Being able to break pallets faster has always been like a wanted effect. I'm pretty sure it's 20%, if I remember correctly. Brutal strength DBD. Yeah, 20% faster. So it's 20% faster, like I thought. Plus they added a base kit 10%, I believe. So you're kicking pallets 30% faster than you would have back in the day when you're running Brutal. And it can really cut down chase time quite a bit. And so I honestly think it should get the A tier. Like, Brutal can really screw over some survivors in chase. Like, if you're on the game, especially, you're gonna want Brutal. But, like, you can't just summon, like, a 5th perk if you didn't bring it, obviously. So you might get screwed. At the same time, you don't really want to be breaking every single pallet and wall in the game, but if you do, Brutal will help you quite a bit. Colubrine, it recently got a nerf. I'm gonna put in C tier. Like it functions all right, I guess. Had this been before the nerf, I probably would have put in A tier, close, maybe even S tier. I'm resting more closer to A tier, but I'm gonna put in C tier. Because of the nerf, like, all it does is shave off, like, 4.5 seconds if you kicked it normally. They nerfed it into oblivion just because of Skull Merchant doing a 3-gen, which I recently came across a Hag and Skull Merchant doing a 3-gen recently, so that's actually kind of funny. Corrupt, A tier. Corrupt is still an A tier perk. It can stop survivors from doing gens right away. And it can also be really good if you're playing like Trapper or Hag to set down your traps. Good shit. Sorry about that. I just had to calm my dog down. Here, let me give you a little bit though. I'll stop being the little annoyance. Shoot. But yeah, with the nerf, Colubrine is a lot weaker. Clophoria, I'll put in C tier. I do think I just got a message on Discord. Give me 1 second. I am indeed getting messages, but they're not from, like, it's just from a random server. In other words, I just wasted my time doing that. Okay. I mean, it's an alright perk. I mean, you could even argue it's B tier. I would say it's, like, close to A tier if you bring, like, a build surrounding it, like Unnerving Presence, uh, distressing, etc., etc. You can make people's life painful. But if we're objectively looking at if you were to bring these perks by themselves, no like synchronized build, I'd put it in C tier. Coup de grace, C tier. It has a very simple effect. Gen pops, you get extended lunge. I'm pretty sure we all know this. I mean, it's quirky but clunky. Like, it's not the best perk out there, but it's fun when you get value out of it. I believe this is claustrophobia, and I believe what happens is when a gen pops, it blocks windows. DBD. Bruh, what did I even type? Man, you know what? Okay.
Kralkadina underscore.
There we go.
Welcome to my channel.
Instead of struggling to write freaking okay, instead of struggling to type in this name, okay, so yeah, within 32 meters of the generator for 30 seconds. As you can tell, it's not a very good perk because they're more than likely going to pop a gen that's far away from you. So all it's going to do is block a window that you're not even close to. Like, it's not a very good it's not a very good perk, all things considered, you know. I think we can all kind of come to this assumption. It's not a very good perk. Dark Devotion. Dark Devotion, I would say, is a quirky perk. When you get value out of it, it's usually really good value. You know, it's I would say a B tier perk. It's interesting, but it is what it is. Deadlock is, you know, I'm gonna say Deadlock's an S tier perk. I have no fear saying that Deadlock is an S tier perk. It's anti-gen. I don't know if you would say anti-gen. It disencourages gen rushers there. That's what I was going for. It makes gen rushing not a very viable option. And that's basically it. You know, whenever a gen pops, the gen that has the most progress will be blocked. It does a very simple thing. Deadman's. I'm gonna give Deadman's, because again, I'm looking at this objectively. If this was a perk by itself, I'm gonna put it on C tier, because it's a semi-good informational perk. It lets you know where people were, essentially, in the match. This was really good with pain res. With pain res being nerfed, not as much. Let's see if this is actually a Discord message for me. I have my doubts though. Yeah, it does not seem to be a Discord message for me. So we're gonna just hop back onto this. Yeah, like it's an alright perk, all things considered, but it's literally just not like crazy good. It's alright. I'm gonna put this in D tier. Like it can give you information. I'm pretty sure it's called Deathbound. other perks. Deerstalker. Is it? I thought it was Deathbound. Deathbound. Okay. It is. It is. Yeah. So all it does is make people scream. It does make them oblivious. But it's nothing really crazy, you know. I'll put Deerstalker in C tier. Like, if you need to slug people. What the heck? Calm your horses, Gidget. Where was I? Yeah, if you have to slug a lot of people, it's good to know where they are. Going back to barbecue also works like Deerstalker. No. Be quiet. It works like Deerstalker, barbecue does, when you hook someone and they're on the ground and they're the right meters away from you. Discordance, I'll put in B tier. When it gives you the right value that you're looking for, it's alright. I have, usually when I play Killer, I don't get Discordance value whenever I bring Discordance, because a lot of people will do solo gens. So, it can make it hard, but during endgame, usually this will pop off if it doesn't pop off the rest of the game. It usually will pop off in endgame. Well, endgame in quotations, when there's like one gen left, I will usually see a Discordance, because they will try to push the last gen as fast as possible. So I'm going to put in B tier. Like, it's good information, but not very reliable information, because the MMR that I have, most people try to do solo gens instead of going on a gen together. Distressing, D tier. No one runs Distressing by themselves. The only killer that you would really want to use Distressing with is like Doctor. There's not a whole lot of reasons to use this perk besides like Chlorophoria and a few other perks like Starstruck. But besides that, like this is a perk that you bring to amplify other things. It doesn't really do anything good for you by itself. Dragon's Grip. I'm going to put Dragon's Grip in C tier. Now, the reason I'm putting it in such a low tier, even though it can be a pretty good perk, is the redonkulous cooldown it has. Like, literally, you're most likely only get 1 or 2 insta-downs if you bring this perk, and it's probably going to be 1 because they're going to realize that they will get insta-down if they touch this gen. This is also kind of like coincides with Discordance. Like, you're really going to probably get good value out of this, unless you're playing like Sadako. You're only going to really get good value out of this if you are in in-game and you kick a gen and they try to pressure it, and then one of them's going to yell, letting you know that they are exposed, and then you can insta-down them. Dying Light. I'll put in B tier. It's an alright slowdown perk. Like, it doesn't really affect the obsession like at all. I'm pretty sure it actually buffs them a little bit. Okay, Dying Light. As far as the deception is like, okay, yeah. The obsession is unaffected by this penalty. Granted at 30, yeah. So they heal and unhook people 33% faster. So yeah, it does give the obsession a slight buff as I thought I remembered. So yeah, that is something to also keep in mind. But besides it doing that, it's pretty good if you play fair in quotations. If you give everyone one hook stage each, but you really need to get your hook stages like back to back really fast early game for it to really shine. If not, you're gonna get steamrolled. I don't know what else to say besides that. Enduring. I'd say enduring is an A tier perk. It does what it does, and it does it really good. You get stunned, it takes up half the stun, especially if you mix enduring and brutal together, you catch up to people really fast. I know that I kind of like enduring on its own is still good. I'm just saying these two are a good combo perk. I wouldn't recommend it because you might get addicted to it, but at the same time, I would also kind of recommend it. Okay, Eruption. I'm gonna say Eruption's a B tier perk. Like, it's still a pretty good Jin regression perk, I would say, even after the nerf. Like, it's not as good, but it causes you to not be able to work on the Jin for a couple of seconds. It regresses the Jin. I'm spelling eruption so wrong. Okay. Okay. Yeah, 10% of its maximum possible progression. Okay. So yeah, so whenever you get someone to the dying state, it regresses it 10% of its progression and shows you the aura for 8, 10, 12 seconds. So that's, yeah, that's still really good. Okay. So yeah, I would say Eruption's still a really good perk to run. Fire Up, C tier. It's brutal. It's literally brutal with extra steps, and it allows you to pick up people and vault faster. So you would think by that on its own, it's, you know, oh, that's a really good perk, but it's really only for every time a gen pops. So this is like an in-game build perk. Force Penance, I would also say is a C tier perk. I mean, I would recommend bringing that if it looks like it's a survive with friends and they have a lot of medkits. That is one time I'd be like, oh, you might want to bring Force Penance. Franklin's. I'm gonna put Franklin's in B tier. Like, it's actually fairly good, because you have the spray bottles, you have the injection needles with Nemesis, you have the cube with Pyramid Head. I have to check something. I don't think it does. Does Franklin's effect? I don't think it does. I do not believe it does. No, they carry their item and the tape. Okay, so yeah. I did not believe it worked on her. I've played as her. I never thought to bring Franklin's, and I think they did that on purpose to keep people from trying to get condemned, and that's why they didn't allow them to be able to knock tapes out of people's hands. Furgative Chase. That is a D tier perk. It all it does is lower your tear radius in chase. It's not that very good of a perk. Gearhead. Now, if this was before the buff, I would put it in D, but I would honestly put this in B tier. This is a pretty decent perk now. Grim Embrace, I'm gonna put that in A tier. Like, a lot of people will say Grim Embrace is bad, and you do have to play, in quotations, fair, but it blocks gens, I think, for 40 or 45 seconds. And also shows you the aura of the... That's basically a minute where people can't touch a gen. Just, 20 seconds off, but yeah. It's the majority of a minute where people cannot touch gens. And you get information. It's honestly a really good perk in my opinion. Hangman's D tier. I mean, you can get some type of value out of Hangman's, but there's a perk that does it better that we'll go into later. But yeah, there's Hangman's. Blood Favor, Hex Blood Favor, A tier. It's one of my favorite hexes. Again, that is if you can even get freaking value out of it, because it's a hex. But when you do get value out of this perk, it's really good. The only map, I will say this, the only map where I have not been able to get Blood Favor value, like good Blood Favor value, has been Coldwind Farms. I hate Coldwind Farms already. This just made me hate it even more when I was running Blood Favor. I think I was actually playing Blight. I'm trying to remember who I was playing as, but I hit them and then they were able to get mad distance. I think they had Overcome. Actually, no, they didn't have Overcome. They just managed to make it to Shack, which was kind of crazy, and the pallet wasn't blocked. Same thing with Dimitri. They also were able to get to there without it being blocked either. Crowd Control is I would say a B tier perk. It's pretty decent. Can block off vaults, but when you have access to Bamboozle that can't be cleansed, I probably would run that instead of have basically survivors block their own windows. Devour, I think we all know this is S tier. Devour Hope is a S tier perk. I don't think anyone really needs to be told that. It's very, very good. Yeah, it's just a really good perk. You need to be able to actually guard it though. If you can't, you're gonna be in a world of pain. You're gonna lose stuff. Haunting Ground, I'd put it as an A tier hex. Actually, no, I'm gonna put it in A tier. Because if you really want to get value out of Haunted Ground, you want to bring Undying, yada yada yada. So, I'm gonna put that in A tier. Lullaby is a C tier hex. Like, for a hex, it's pretty weak. I wouldn't really recommend it that much. Noed, I would put in B tier. Oof. Our B tier is getting a little bit beefy right now. Pinamino. See, this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Pinamino, this is where it gets tricky. Because with Pinamino, you have a perk that essentially, what it does is when people cleanse hexes, you can basically make it where, you can make the game very, very, very difficult for the survivors. So there's that. I'm not really describing it good. So Pinamino makes healing slower, it makes repairing gens slower, it makes recovering slower, and it makes, I believe, cleansing slower? And then the final one makes it where you can't cleanse any totems. Hex Pinamino. Okay, yeah, so, it makes repair speeds 30% slower, healing speeds 30% slower, recovery speed 30% slower, and exit 30% slower. What did I say? I don't know what I said for the fourth one. But yeah, it basically has like built-in Remember Me. and then the fifth one makes it where all the totems are blocked by the entity. So like it has potential to be S tier, but I'm going to put it in D tier because you have to really go out of your way. You basically have to bring an entire build around to get pentamento value because they're not just gonna be going around cleansing totems. Plaything, I would say, is an A tier. Hex perk. It does what it does. It blocks it off from other survivors cleansing it for, I think, a minute? Is it a minute or 120 seconds? Okay, Plaything. Yes, Hex Plaything. How long is it for? 90 seconds, 90 seconds. I knew it was like more than a minute, but it wasn't exactly... Yeah. So yeah. There we go. I feel like that's a good placement for that. Retribution. I'm going to put Retribution in B tier. It's pretty decent. It gives you good information on all survivors when Hex Totems are cleansed. Yeah. I'll say that's about as good as it can get. Ruin is C tier. They ruined Ruin. I don't really need to really touch on it. It is really bad now. Ruin. Okay, Hex Ruin. Yeah, it's just 100% slower. Oh my god, that is horrible. And let's check out Colorblind, because I'm pretty sure Colorblind is still better, but not by much. Yeah, 125%. Colorblind, you got so nerfed in this update. I'm so sorry, baby, that they did this to you. Third Seal, I would say, is also a B tier Hex perk. I like to bring it from time to time. Yeah. Thrill. I'm gonna put that in C, and I'm going to put... No, I'll stick Undying in B tier. Undying on its own doesn't really do much. You don't want to really bring it. Like, all it'll do is show you auras of people by a Dole totem. That is the best that Undying will do for you. If you bring Undying by itself, but no one's going to bring Undying by themselves unless they did, like, random perk build generator. Okay, so we have Hoarder, and I'm gonna put this in... I'm gonna put it in C tier because you can use it with, like, certain killers' powers, but it's not the greatest. Hysteria, you know, I'm gonna put Hysteria in B tier. It's honestly not horrible. I'm All Ears is an A tier perk. Person Vaults, it shows you their aura for 6 seconds. I'm All Ears. Okay, it is... Yeah, 6 seconds is how long you see them. And it is 8 seconds if you have Lethal Pursuer, which we haven't got to yet. Yeah, I feel like that's a good placement for it. Infectious. Infectious is a decent information perk. You down someone and someone else yells. It's good for insta-down Myers. Good for Bubba. Good for Oni. Good for all the good insta-down killers. Maybe not as much as Billy. Billy might not be, because you have to rev it up longer than you do, like, Bubba. At least that's what it feels like to me. Insidious, we're gonna put that in D tier. Iron Grasp can give you some value, so I'll put it in C tier. Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden, I'm gonna put in D tier. Like, literally, the only reason anyone is going to run Iron Maiden is Not for the exposed, but for the faster reload. If you are Huntress or Trickster. That's literally the only reason anyone's going to be using Iron Maiden. Knockout. Knockout is a interesting little bugger. I'm gonna put him in B tier. Knockout, if it's not against the Survive with Friends, is very good. Okay, Lethal. Okay. One of my favorite perks. S tier. Lethal is an S tier perk. I don't think anyone is going to argue with that. It shows you the auras of people for 5 seconds. And then adds 2 seconds to each aura reading perk. Okay, yeah, Lethal Pursuer. I was spelling it wrong. Okay, no. 9 seconds, and then extends it by 2. So, like, it already, beginning of the game, gives you good value being able to pressure people really, really fast. And then, any other add-on or reading perk you have, it adds 2 seconds to that. You basically have constant information if you run a build with Lethal. It's really, really nutty, and yeah, just a really good perk. I don't think anyone will argue that Lethal is an S tier perk. I can't tell if that's Shadow or Light. I don't see the other Born. I think this is Lightborn, and I believe that's Shadow. Well, let's see if I'm right. I don't really run either. So. Lightborn. Yeah, I was right. That is Lightborn. Lightborn, D tier. You can literally just look away. I mean, it does show aura of people, which I guess is nice. Mad Grid, I'll put as C tier. Like, you really need people that are playing really foolishly, like being super altruistic, to really get value out of Mad Grid. Now, make your choice. This is where we get to a potential controversial, but I'm going to put this in A tier. I do think it has potential to be S tier, but I'm going to be putting in A tier for now. I like, when I'm playing the Knight especially, I get a lot of value out of Make Your Choice. I'm gonna put you in C tier, because if people know how to hit their skill checks, you're not gonna get value out of this perk. But when you get like a newer player, so if you're low MMR, I'm gonna say this is a B, maybe even an A tier perk. But if you have like medium to high MMR, this is gonna be going to C tier. It can still give you value even against the really good players, but there's the potential that it won't really do much to them. Fearmonger, that's an easy B tier. With a lot of people bringing exhaustion perks, like 90% of people bringing exhaustion perks, having this perk makes them not be able to see the auras of people when they go down. And then not only that, but they'll also be exhausted. So if they have like sprint bursts, they'll be able to easier, I guess you could argue, 99 it. But if they're like halfway done on their exhaustion bar and they try to do the gen to get their exhaustion back, they can't, because it's gonna keep their exhaustion as is. And then yeah, so it's a pretty decent perk sometimes. Monitor and Abuse, I'm gonna put in C tier. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Monitor and Abuse. It's just, it's only really good on like certain killers, I would argue. Instant down killers, basically, where they can sneak up on you. Monstrous Shrine. Scourge Hook, Monstrous Shrine. I'll put in C tier. If we weren't talking about the Scourge Hook version, it would be D tier. But since we're talking about Scourge Hook version, I'll put in C tier. Nemesis. This one's hard. Because it shows you the aura and makes them oblivious of the people that stun you, flashlight blind you, etc. I'm going to put in C tier, but you could make an argument for B tier. Now, No Way Out is S tier. I don't think it needs to be argued or a discussion about it. It is a certified S tier perk, at least in my personal opinion. No Way Out makes it very hard for survivors to just leave, that want to just leave immediately, allowing you to get closer to your 3 to 4k faster. Look at this, guys, we're almost done. Oppression. C tier. It can give you a little bit of value, like it damages in total, I think, 4 gens, because it damages 3 other gens plus the one you kick. Okay, yeah, oppression. Yeah, so 4 gens in total will be damaged, except I think it's just regular regressing, so it's nothing crazy. So it's not that good. Overcharge. Now they also nerfed overcharge. Okay, overcharge starts at 85 and goes to 130%. Okay. So it starts off pretty weak and then gets stronger than Call of Brian. I guess I'll put in C tier, because it's really not that much. It's nothing really crazy. Overwhelming Presence. That is a D tier. I mean, it can give you value, but it's not going to really do too much. Play with Your Food, I would say, is a C tier perk, really. Because you gotta get in chase, go back and forth. I mean, at the end of the day, it does give you quite a bit of stuff, but it's nothing crazy. Pop is still a okay perk. It used to be, I would argue, S tier. Now I would say it's dumped down all the way to B tier. It's been hit hard, but it's not horrible. Okay, Predator. You go right into the D tier. You're garbage. Rancor, I would say, is also another B tier perk. It shows you the outlines.
Tensu underscore 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 underscore. Welcome to my channel.
Well, welcome. I forgot what perk I even grabbed. I think it was Rancor. Yeah, it was Rancor. I think Rancor's alright, all things considered. Like, it shows you the auras of people. Well, put that in quotation. It's not really auras. It shows you the outlines of where people were with Rancor, and then also allows you to kill the Obsession. So it's pretty nice. It gives you a little bit of information as well as a built-in Mori. So it's decent. Remember Me, that is a C tier perk. I know I'm putting it kind of low, but there are better alternatives like No Way Out. Like, granted, when I played Sadako, I had no add-ons. I was using Floods of Rage, Call of Brian, Remember Me, Rancor. And this literally saved my butt, because it took them longer to finish the exit gate because I killed the Obsession with Rancor. And so I was able to secure a 3k instead of a 1k, which I would have gotten had I not had Remember Me. But that's like such a minute occurrence, plus with the fact that I had to have synergy with Rancor to even get really good value out of this perk. So I can't, out of like my conscience, just give it a very good high score because of that game and the other times that I've run it when it's given me value, because usually I have some type of build that boosts the goodness of this perk, basically. Okay. Say the Best for Last is an S tier perk. It's like it's S tier on a lot of killers too. Like, you can run this on Demogorgon, Pig, Nemesis, Bubba. Let's see, who else can you use this on? Technically, Huntress and Trickster. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend you use it on them, but you can still use this very good perk on them, technically, and be able to keep your stacks. Wesker, this is also another good perk for Wesker. Yeah, a lot of killers benefit from this, and not even that, but like insta-down killers like Myers, who this is one of his own perks, and Ghostface also benefit from this, even though they can't save their stacks. They can just take away 2 stacks instead of 4, compared to someone, let's say, like Wraith. Wraith is guaranteed to lose 4 stacks unless he gets a grab. That's Trapper's like in this gray area, because if a survivor lands into a trap, he can still hit them and only lose 2 stacks, or even grab them and lose 0 stacks. So Trapper's like that weird area. Floods of Rage is another S tier perk. I love it. It's very good. I'll be right back though. Just give me 1 second. Okay. I just had to get some stuff real quick, and I'm getting close to finishing both on this and with what I'm doing right now. Ow. I hurted myself. Okay. Okay. Why did you do that? Okay. So, I am back. That took me less than 30 seconds, I believe. C tier immediately. That's literally just Sloppy Butcher, but hook someone. And I'm gonna put this in C tier. You can argue that Pain Res is still really good. I'll argue that it's dog water. Like, it's so hard to tell when you should actually use that perk, at least for me, because I've used it, and like when I'm at endgame, I literally needed all 4 tokens, and like I was fighting for my life basically. So yeah, Shadowborn, I'm gonna put it in D tier 2. It's overall a useless perk. I mean, it makes you feel faster, but that's basically it. So I'm gonna put it like that. Sloppy Butcher, B tier, because all you have to do is actually hit your target. So better than Pain Res, not Pain. Well, better than Pain Res 2. But also better than this guy right here. Spies from the Shadows. I would say easily C tier perk. I mean, it's good for information. Like, it's high C tier, maybe low B tier. Starstruck, I would say, is an A tier perk. You know, people in your tear radius, begin insta downed. It's a pretty good perk. Strider, I would say, is D tier. Literally, the only killer that would really benefit from this perk is Spirit. So, yeah. Surge. Surge is, I would say Surge is an A tier perk, especially now that it has no cooldown. It ranked up pretty high, I would say. Surveillance, I would say, is a B tier perk. I mean, it's good. You definitely probably want to run it if you're doing a kick build. Even if you're not running a kick build, it's a pretty decent information perk because you'll know if someone touched your Jhin, and if you're a stealth killer, you can just sneak back on them. Territorial Imperative shows you the aura of people going into basement. That is a D tier. Xenophobia, that is a C tier. You injure people, they get slightly slower Jhin progress. Like, Xenophobia isn't as strong, like, at all as it used to be. Now, Thrilling Tremors is interesting. I would say it's an A tier. It's not as good as Barbecue, in my personal opinion, but it's still pretty good. It shows you the people working on blank Jhins and where they are. So it's essentially Barbecue, just not aura. But I still like it. It's still a really good perk. Tinkerer, I would say, is a B tier perk now. It used to be A, possibly even S tier, because it popped off every time the Jhin was reaching the 70% mark. Now it only pops off once, so the killer still gets indicated where you're at, but it's only once. But yeah. Ooh. Trails of Torment, I would say, is also a B tier perk. You kick a Jhin, and you lose your tear radius. You essentially become a stealth killer until you injure, slash down, or someone touches the Jhin. So it can work really well. You just want to kick that Jhin when there's no survivors around and they're like injured and running away. I'm gonna put this in D tier because any good survivor will just turn that into a good, well, not a good, it'll turn it into a great skill check easier. Unrelenting, I'll put it in B tier. It kind of feels weird to put it in B tier, but like it's technically really good, all things considered. Whispers, I'll put in C tier as well. Sentient Tactics, I'm gonna put in B tier. It basically helps you learn the layout of the map, as well. So yeah, you probably are gonna want to run that. Okay, Darkness Revealed. I'm gonna put it in C tier. It's okay. This is more for, again, Trickster and Huntress gamers and Dredge. So it's really only for like 3 killers in the game. Dissolution, I would say, is a C. I'm gonna put it in B tier. I feel like it's more of a C tier perk personally, but you can argue that it is a B tier perk because a lot of survivors will like volt back and forth at a pallet, trying to make distance, and then breaking it can be pretty huge if you're after them. Septic Touch, I'm going to put in C tier. I don't feel like it's a very strong perk, personally. Shattered Hope, also put it in C tier. I'm going to put it in D tier because you don't even have like a guarantee that a survivor is bringing boons, which I've noticed a very large decrease of boons, thank goodness, in my days of playing. So that's Terminus, Superior Anatomy. I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna have to search Wesker. Albert Wesker. Okay, Superior Anatomy. Okay, Awaked Awareness. I knew what it did. You know, I knew it showed the auras. I was just blanking on the name. This is what I said was better than, I'll put it as a B tier perk. It's better than Hangman's Trick. Superior Anatomy, I would also say, I'm going to put it in A tier. honestly, it is way faster than Bamboozle. Like, if we look, Superior Anatomy is 40% faster. And if we search Bamboozle, so it's 40%. This one's only 15%. It's quite a bit faster. Like, you catch up to survivors very quick with that perk. And Terminus, which I would say is also a B tier perk. I don't know if I would put it as A tier. It's basically Noed, but with without it being a hex. And it's everyone that's injured before exit gates get open, and then when the exit gates get open, it's there for 40 seconds? No, 30 seconds. Hubris I would put as a C tier. I'll put it as B tier, actually. Nowhere to Hide. I believe that's what this one is. I do need to quickly I do have to like kind of look at this a little bit. Okay, Nowhere to Hide. So yeah. Actually, that's not what I meant to do. Nowhere to Hide, I would say, is an S tier perk. You kick a Jin, and it shows you the auras of everyone. It's honestly a really, really good perk. Let's Face the Darkness. Crazy or anything, but it can do, you know. Now I gotta look up Skull Merchant. Because I know one of them, all of her perks are basically useless. Okay, Thwack. Okay, Thwack is honestly alright. I would say it's B tier. Leverage I know is garbage. Yeah. Leverage and Game of Foot are garbage. Let me just check which one's which. Leverage is D tier, I would say, and Game of Foot can be C tier, I guess. And this is my honest opinions on all of these perks. I know I am not like the one that is 100% correct or anything. You know, like everyone has their own opinions, and these just happen to be mine. They're more than likely like very big hot takes, though. I do know this, but I do feel like this is semi-close. Like if you're wanting like an in-depth of what each perk does, I did like a small, oh, this perk does this perk does this. If you want a full out what each perk does, I would recommend watching an Otz video. Otz is very, very, very good at this. He is very, very good at like he's good at explaining perks. I'll actually pull it up. Okay, Otz perk tier list. So I'll click this one and click copy, and we're gonna go back, and I'm gonna put this in the Well, give me 1 second so I can do this. This is taking a lot longer than I expected, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's like taking so long. Because it wants me to do it through my phone, and so I hit OK, and like it's not loading. Resend it. You know what? You know what, guys? I will actually send this, like into the actual either the description or something else when I end this stream, because like it does not want to load like first squat. Oh man, I accidentally got rid of that. Starva, DBD, perk tier list. There we go. Yeah, I'll make sure to send this into oh my god. I guess I should send this one because this is where he like explains everything. 16 hours. So yeah, you guys will be there for a short bit, learning everything about it. Anyways, I'm gonna go. I'll try to put this either in the description or into like the top comment or something, so you guys can watch this if you want a more in-depth like what each perk does, because Ots can do it a lot better than I can. I mostly just wanted to give my thoughts and whatnot. On the perks. Anyways,